Talk about the draft right now for Office Insights Draft Preview presented by Sage. Lance Brozdowski will be on the draft coverage on NBC, the network, and MLB Network tomorrow. Lance, great to have you back on the program. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Set's right behind me. It's looking pretty good.
Excited. You're right there. Like, it's happening. Thanks for getting up early and getting out there. Give us some information here. For the Major League Baseball fan, doesn't know prospects. How good is this class?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty solid class. I think if you talk to a lot of scouting directors, VPs of scouting elsewhere, they'll say it's slightly weak. I think that is perhaps just because the last two classes have been pretty strong. If you look back at 2024, I know you guys have shown this in MLB Network a ton. You got Nick Kurtz, Connor Griffin, Chase Burns, Travis Bazzana. There's so many names up top. I would say this draft has the three clear guys up top that we all expect to go 1, 2, 3 in some order. Rock Chalowski, Vaughn Lackey, the catcher. Then you have Grady Emerson, the high school Texas shortstop. Beyond that is, I think, maybe where it gets a little cloudy. The difference in this draft relative to prior ones is that there's just a lot of similar tiered players from, say, pick 7 to maybe like the 30s. That's, I think, where you're getting the sentiment that perhaps it's slightly weak. But I wouldn't say it's weak overall. It's just a different class. The strengths in a lot of high school pitching. I would say there's, the college hitters maybe aren't as strong as prior years. The college pitching isn't as strong as it will be next year. So I think we're squarely in the middle of a variety of spectrums here in terms of quality.
Okay, at the very top, here are the three names now. We talked about them earlier, and you just mentioned them. UCLA shortstop Rock Chalowski, slugged over 600 last year, this year. High school player of the year, that's Grady Emerson, the shortstop. And Vaughn Lackey, Georgia Tech, with a serious on-base percentage, right? A .519 on base, more walks than strikeouts. That sounds like the modern player. Where are you on all this?
Yeah, I think it's a tough decision at one. If I was sitting in the chair, I think I would go Rock Chalowski. I do believe the floor there is just incredibly high. He has track record of performance. He's going to play a Gold Glove shortstop. And all the batted ball data looks pretty good. I like breaking down hitters as you do from like a pure, hey, how are you doing in impacting the ball? Are you hitting it at the right angles? Are you hitting it hard enough? Where's the bat speed? And then you can kind of flip it and look more at the raw plate discipline side of things. Are you chasing? Are you making contact in zone? And this is where you run into Rock Chalowski alongside Vaughn Lackey, where they're pretty even on a lot of things. The main differentiator, I would say, I think Lackey has a little bit better understanding of strike zone and zone control, but the detriment there is that Chalowski lifts the ball a lot more. So if you're looking at Vaughn Lackey and going, hey, we actually think we could get him in the air more, maybe that's where you run into some really nice top-end outcomes with him. But I think they're both great picks. I would say Chalowski feels like the favorite at number one right now.
This is a classic thing, too, of, talent or need, right? You hear that in the NFL draft all the time and in baseball, too. The White Sox, all right, number one pick overall. Their first-round pick last year was a high school shortstop. They have Colson Montgomery starting at shortstop, age 22, right? He brand spanking new. Does that affect their selection?
No, I'm gonna keep that tight. No, I really don't think it does. You're looking for the best player. If you have too many shortstops that are all maybe going to play shortstop, you have a very good problem. It's like having too much pitching. You can never have enough of it. You can put shortstops, a lot of them, take the guy with the best arm, put him at third. Take the guy who's a little less rangy but has a better bat, put him at second. I don't think it's an issue at all. You're really just trying to identify 5 years from now who's produced the most WAR, and I think Chalowski is right at top right now.
Okay, yeah, so right, you see shortstop, grab shortstop. They're telling me Montgomery's 24. I don't know, I'm getting loose here today. Give us another interesting hitter to keep an eye on. Who do you like that's maybe a little lower?
Yeah, Drew Burress is a really interesting one. So all the data checks out here, right? Like, he hits the ball really hard. He lifts it. There's a lot of pull side power. The one thing you got to get over is he's 5'9". So you go to the old traditional scouting ground, you look at him, and you're like, I don't think this guy can be an impact bat. Then you see a swing like that, him lifting the ball to his pull side, hitting the ball over 110. It's a really strong Georgia Tech lineup. He stood out. He plays really good defense. It's kind of a funny data profile where everything absolutely checks out, but then you just have to confirm you're comfortable with a guy who's a little bit undersized. But I really don't think it's an issue. I think the data has allowed us to kind of zoom out and get away from like the body scouting to some extent. If this guy is this explosive, which he's shown throughout college from a data standpoint, from a defense standpoint, then I just think he's a smash pick inside the top, 6 or 7 where he's projected to go. Really fun guy, just in a very interesting package.
Yeah. Lance, height bias is dead. Like you're right. I mean, it was so much was size, height, everything else. That's how you draw it up. The new super kid is 5'9". Like we said, McGonigal.
It's like the Brewers.
And all the 7 Brewers, right? You got 5'7" kid, Lara just coming up here. And by the way, I love that. Right? It's what baseball should be, that you don't have to be a physical freak if you forge your skills. And that's what these kids have. Most teams are there, well, hey, this kid's 5'9". Don't let that bother you.
I think so. I mean, if the data checks out, that's the key point, right? There's a lot of these smaller, undersized guys that the Brewers have gone after that are more contact oriented. And, you know, Jet Williams maybe isn't a terrible comp. He was a Met who was traded in the Freddie Peralta trade. He's more of a shortstop, but I do think he could stick out in the outfield as well. He's an undersized guy as well, but he has crazy bat speed, crazy explosiveness for his size.
Right.
Burris is in a similar package. There's becoming more of a precedent of not being afraid to take the guy who's a little undersized that can hit the ball really hard.
You can measure all these things that matter, you know, biomechanically an awful lot. Lance, great stuff. Great to have you on the show. Have fun tomorrow. Thank you.
Thanks a ton.